Hey everyone, welcome into Unit 4, Day 10 Notes. Today we're going to look at graphing linear inequalities. So we've been working with graphing equations, but now we're moving to inequalities. Students will be able to graph linear inequalities and properly identify what type of line and shading is needed with 80% accuracy. All right, so we have a few steps that we can go through. You can always refer back to these steps if you are struggling. Step number 1, make sure the equation is in slope-intercept form. So we have practiced this a lot. Slope-intercept form, as a reminder, is y equals mx plus b. So we want to get y by itself, solve for y, get into that slope-intercept form, and then identify the slope and y-intercept. Once we identify that and mark it down, we are almost ready to graph. We want to determine the type of line that we are going to use. So inequalities, not equal signs, inequality symbols. So we have a dotted line, like we see on the left. We will graph a dotted line if we have a less than or greater than symbol. And then a solid line, we will graph if it's less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. So the idea behind this is a dotted line, we are not including the information that's equal to because it's just less than or just greater than. And for a solid line, it's solid because we are including everything on that line as a solution. And that's why it's or equal to, because it's or equal to the graphed line. So after we determine what type of line we're going to use, we are going to determine where to shade. So to shade above, right? We see that gray shaded area is above the line, and that would be greater than or greater than or equal to. Greater than means above. If we shade below the line, it will be less than or less than or equal to. So greater than, above, less than, below. So we went through those steps pretty quickly. If you need to go take a few seconds to go back and take a look at those again, please do so. Otherwise, we are going to take a look at just determining the sign of each of these graphs, and we're not even going to graph anything yet, just focus on the signs. So for number 1, we see the shading is above the line. Above the line means greater than. And then it is a solid line, which means we're going to have the equal symbol underneath it. So it is greater than or equal to. Number 2, we see that the shading is below the line, which tells us it's a less than symbol, and it is a dotted line, which means that we are not going to have an equal to. Dotted means we are not including that information as a solution, so it's just less than. Number 3, shading is above still, like number 1. And then the type of line is a dotted line. So above means greater than, and dotted means we are not including that information, so we are not equal to. So just greater than. Okay, so let's take these skills into action and go ahead and graph a few examples. So graph the following inequalities. Again, we want to make sure that we are in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, which means y needs to be all by itself on one side of the inequality, not equal sign, because we're dealing with inequalities. For number 1, that is the case. Y is by itself. So we can go ahead and fill out our information. Our slope is positive 2/3. Our y-intercept, remember, it is -4, but it's a coordinate pair. 0 for our x always, and -4 for our y value as our y-intercept. Now let's take a look at what type of line. So it is just greater than, it is not equal to. So it's dotted. And shading, greater than, means above our line. So let's go ahead and graph the information we know. We know the y-intercept is 0, -4. So I'm going to go down to -4 on our y-axis. And then our slope is going to be up to the right 3. Or down to the left 3. Now we are going to graph. It's a dotted line, so I'm still using a straight edge. Still use your student IDs. And I'm going to just draw dashes along my straight edge. Make sure arrows at the end. And now the really fun part, we are shading above the line. So pencils work fine. I have a highlighter. If you have a highlighter, great. We are just shading above the line. That shading tells us that that space is any of our solutions. Any solution can be found in the shaded area. We'll talk more about that at a later time, but just a heads up, right? The reason why we shade is because we're saying that anything can be greater than our line, which means above our line, not equal to, so we're not including the information on the line. All right, example number 2. It is, again, in slope-intercept form, so we don't have to worry about that. Our slope is -4. Our y-intercept is 0, 5. Always, always, always written as a coordinate pair. It is less than or equal to, which means it's solid. And if it's less than, we are shading below the line. So we plot our y-intercept, 0, 5. Slope is -4, which can be written as -4/1. So we go down 4 to the right 1, or it can be +4/-1. So we go up 4 to the left 1. This one is a solid line. Grab my highlighter. And now we need to go ahead and shade below the line. So this is underneath the line, below the line. Which again means that any of our solutions to this inequality can be in that shade area. Now the difference is, because it's or equal to, our solutions can also be on our graphed line as well. It's being included on the graph line. All right, let's take a look at one more, and then we'll have you all try some. Number 3 is already in slope-intercept form. So we have our slope as 2. Our y-intercept is 0, -1. It is greater than or equal to, so it's solid because it's or equal to. Bam. And greater than means we're shading above the line. Graphing our y-intercept first, 0, -1. Our slope of 2 means up 2 to the right 1, or down 2 to the left 1. Again, we are graphing a solid line. All right. Grabbing my highlighter, time to shade. We are shading above the line because it's greater than. And there we go. And once again, greater than means we're shading above the line because any solution to this inequality can be found in that shaded region, but also on the line because it's equal to or equal to. Okay, great. Try the next three on your own and see how you do in a few minutes. Okay, welcome back. Take a look at number 4. So our slope is -1/4. Our y-intercept is 0, 5. It's a solid line because it's or equal to, less than or equal to, and then we are going to shade below because it's less than. So take a look. Your graph should match mine exactly. It's a negative slope and we're shading below the line. All right, let's take a look at number 5 and 6. So number 5, we have our our slope, let's take a look at that first, is 1. Nothing next to the x, mean it's a 1. And then our y-intercept is 0, -8. It is less than, there's no equal to, so it's dotted, and less than again means below the line. So take a look. Your graph should match mine. Make sure your line is dotted and there are arrows at the end. And number 6, y is greater than -3x. This is our slope. And there is nothing over here to the right, which means our y-intercept is 0, 0. It's at the origin. Greater than, not equal to, dotted, and greater than means above. All right. Nice job today, everyone. Make sure you reach out to your teacher if you have any questions. Other than that, peace out. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.